Okay, so this baby is almost finished. As you can see, she's got just the last bit of the swirl left. She just came out of the oven, so she's piping hot. So I'm going to cover up part of her head so that I don't get burned by her while I'm touching it. I'm just going to carry through, working from the outside of this circle, following the shape of the swirl that I've designed on her head already. Try to make sure I don't leave any holes. It's kind of hard to explain how I do it, since what you see is a big clump of hair going over the top of the spot that's bare. And I see the spot that I want to get, and I move the needle to where I think it is. And most of the time it's in the right spot. Sometimes it's not. This baby has taken about 5 days so far to root. And I don't work on it constantly. I work on it a couple hours at a time because it hurts my neck to look down in this position too long. So I have to do her a little bit here and a little bit there just so I don't get too achy. But so far she's probably has about, I don't know, maybe 20 hours or so into her head. She has probably an hour, a little bit more than that left. After this, I'm going to root her eyelashes, and then she'll get her hair glued, and I'll do a video of her getting put together, and do a video of her in all the different clothes that she'll come with for her drawing. And I'll see if I can do a video of how I set it up to do photographs, and so you can see some of the backgrounds and stuff that I use for the photographs, to try to show as much as I can from start to finish on this baby. I'm going to have to cut this video short because we have somebody pulling into our driveway at the current moment to deliver pellets for our pellet stove. So I'll pick up on this video in a few minutes and then smush them all together. So you can see her little heart shape. Cute. So I'm going to stop the video in a few minutes and go deal with my people, and then I'll be back. Okay, carry on with this. There's not a whole lot of magical science that goes into it quite yet until it gets close to the very end when I have to do the tight swirly, but always move the head to the position that is most comfortable for you to be in, and try to keep your rooting needle at an angle so that it goes in and not straight up. If it goes straight up, it'll be like pincushion hair. The only time I root straight up like that is if I'm actually doing a double calic. And the hair is supposed to come like up right in the center between the two. So I will root it maybe not completely upright, but more of an upright angle during that hair pattern. I wouldn't have done that hair pattern on this head since I have so much scalp that I have to cover with the previously rooted mess. can hardly remember what this baby actually looks like anymore without looking at pictures, because I've seen her now so long for the last couple of weeks in this particular coloring, and especially for the last week when I've been doing her hair. It's hard to picture her as a before, so I'll have to pull up some before pictures so that people can see what she used to look like. I probably wouldn't have put such thick hair on her if I didn't have to cover up all of her hair either. All the little previous poke holes, but the thicker I put it in now, the harder it is to see the previous poke holes. I'm just following the hair pattern that I've drawn on. Moving the head as I need to keep the needle going in the right angle. My head's starting to cool off, so I won't get much more on this heat cycle done. Okay, I think I'm going to come back and catch up in the last video after I've filled all this in so that we can see this last undefined swirl where it takes place. So I'll be back in a few minutes as soon as I get caught up to that point. All right, so we're on our very last spot. Right here, the hair comes into this point and everything else is trying to focus into that point. So we're going to slowly work our way around so that everything on the outside is pointing in that direction. We don't want everything lined up into that exact spot. It needs to be kind of a spiral working itself around that spot. The hair doesn't want to stick in this spot, so I'm trying to get it to go in a spot. Now it looks like it's rooted 3 times in that spot. There we go, better spot. I'm just going to keep moving my head around and around in circles so that the needle stays in this angle, because this is the natural spot for my hand. I can go a little bit this way, but I lose the steering ability. Getting there. Shrinking up a little bit. Okay, because now you can see that these are starting to come in this way and these are starting to come in this way. So it's going to kind of try to make a yin-yang right here in the middle. So I'm trying to get all this hair steered so that it does that. This hair is going in really thick. Normally it's not as necessary to put it in so on top of each other, but I just don't want anybody to see that there was root holes underneath his hair before there was second layer of hair. So we're trying to play hide and seek with it, make it like it was never there, and give her a fresh new start. Hair starting to flump apart. You see it's starting to get long and jaggedy, so I'm going to cut that. Okay, so now we have it pretty circular. So we'll just keep working our way in at the outsides in a circular motion so that this is kind of wrapping around itself. Hopefully this isn't too terribly boring for you guys. I didn't turn on any music because I don't own any rights to any music. So you have to sit here and suffer in silence watching me bored out of your gourd. Sorry. This will probably be my last giveaway baby for a while, because up next I have a few customs that I have to finish, and then after that I'll be working like a house elf towards getting ready for the next big Rose doll show, which I'm so excited about. We've had way too long since our last doll show because it was canceled this year, and I feel like Christmas has been taken away because we didn't get to go play. This year's theme is beach babies, so I'm definitely going to have a couple fantasy babies and a couple mermaids there. But as far as my theme goes, I'm not sure. I keep going back and forth between changing my own personal theme from something from the beach babies theme to maybe a picnic theme, or something completely random. Not really sure. I have lots of different clothing layouts that I've picked or started picking depending upon what theme I go for. I have on my plans to have between 12 and 20 babies there, depending upon if I can get it that many done or not. And I've saved some in my stash for a little while that I'm super excited to pull out because they're just older kits that I've always loved, so I'm excited to get them pulled out. Okay, so now we're getting into the actual tight part of this spiral. And I don't want this to go round and round and round and round because it would be impossible to comb. So it needs to kind of go around and just stop, I guess, so to speak. So you can go round and round and round like a ring around the rosies, but then whoever gets this baby won't be able to style it the same way if it just keeps going round and round and round. They'll just want to have a simpler style of combing. Nearly there. My hair's falling apart again. And I tried to do some cheaper babies for Christmas time, but this year I'm not entirely sure I'll be able to have the time. I've gotten a massive list of customs that I have to get through. Plus we're getting ready to move, so we have to be working on cleaning the house, and downsizing and packing and staging the house and making it pretty. So when people come and look at our house, they're not creeped out by the fact that there's hundreds and hundreds of dolls all over my house. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop this top part of the curl right here. And everything else is just going to curl up into this one spot right here. Okay, so that spot's curled up into it. small spot. It's important that you don't leave a big gaping hole right there where you want to emphasize your swirl, because it doesn't look natural. Nobody has a big bald spot where their swirl ends. So carry it through to the end. Okay, so this head is done. Kind of goes in a swirl like this. So I'll wet it down and comb it in a minute. But for the next section, I'm going to reposition my towel, get her head in a better position, and I'm going to try really hard to root some new eyelashes in. I've been nervous about this part because of the previous eyelashes being so pluggy in there. Guess I shouldn't have been so nervous, because these aren't being bad at all. There's a couple spots that won't take it very well, but keep working with it. Hoping I can get enough in and still make it look natural and hide some of those weird little pluggy spots. This baby is no means going to be perfect, but she's going to be better than she was, and that's what counts. I'm looking through my eyelid or my hairline right here to see if there's any bald spots, and that's where I'm going to go and put a hair in so that they're kind of evenly spaced. Okay, that looks pretty even on that side. We're going to turn to this side. This side's a little harder for me because I'm right-handed and I can't just flip the head over and change my hand to go in the right direction. So I have to come from the outside of the eye in and try to keep it at the same angle that the other eyelid was rooted in. That has too many hairs in it. If you get big giant pluggy gloops, then pull them out and just get a fresh single layer in. And then the nose is kind of in the way, so we have to try to get the hair down close enough to sit. This eye's always kind of a pain in the tush. Just carry on going back and forth and filling it in, making sure that you don't have any major bald spots in between your eyelashes. Try to keep them going out at the same angle, so they're not just sticking in at random porcupine angles and looking a bit wonky. So that right there was a really thick one, so I'm going to come back in here and pull that out so that it's not so thick right there on the very end. Now compare the two. I think I'm missing a spot right here, so I'm going to try really hard to get one right in that spot. May take a couple pokes to get one in. Okay, so hair rooting on this little nugget is done. She needs some trimming, so I'll do that real quick. Pillow that she was put on for rooting to help hold her head off my leg. And I've already trimmed it, so I'm just going to match up what's there with what's already been trimmed around it. When I'm working with hair, I always cover up my painting area so that I don't get all these little fuzzy baby hairs all over my painting table and the towels that I use for that. When I get to the top of the head, I'm not going to cut it so short because it's going to angle from the front up to a little bit taller in the back. So it'll stand up if we want it to. I'm just going to comb around it one more time just to make sure I didn't miss any. Nearly done. Now on her little eyelashes, or him, I guess it could be a him if I really wanted to. I'm going to come in with my tiny scissors and start by giving it a trim across the front. And then we're going to trim it to be angled in the angles that we want it to be. Some of these hairs were a little curly, so they're kind of curling up on me. We're going to try our best to make them match in length and shape. All right, hair rooted, hair lashes done. And we're going to do gonna squirt down so you can see how the combs. Find our swirl. I think she's, or he's, just about done. And I throw me a headband so I can pop one on her real quick. We're having a headband shortage. Give me a second. Obviously, we are ill prepared. All right, headband. There you go, cute little girl. My next step is to glue her hair and put her head on my hair dryer, which is like a fan that I use, the air purifier fan that puts off a pretty high flow. And then when she's done, I will come back and get her put together, and we'll do that on video so you can see her as she gets put together.